Hello, everyone. Welcome back to today's story. In this episode, after days of quietly preparing and watching Linda struggle with the little she has, Quang finally makes a life-changing decision. What begins as a simple gift, a sturdy wardrobe he carries up the mountain with his own hands, slowly unfolds into something far deeper. As night falls and the soft lamplight warms the tiny stilt house, Quang gathers his courage to do something he has never done before. Open his heart completely. Stay until the end, because this chapter reveals not just a beautiful surprise, but the start of a new future built on sincerity, warmth, and unwavering love. And don't forget to subscribe to help us reach 1,000 subscribers. Your support means the world to us. The afternoon market slowly quiets down, leaving behind only the soft clatter of vendors packing up and the fading scent of grilled sweet potatoes in the air. Quang moves with purpose through the narrow aisles, his eyes scanning each furniture stall as though he's searching for something he already sees in his mind. And then he stops. Right in front of him stands the wardrobe, tall, glossy, reddish-brown, with carved wooden lines that catch the light like ripples on a calm lake. Quang steps closer, running his calloused fingers across its surface. Every curve is smooth, warm, solid. He can already imagine it standing in Linda's room, replacing the plastic bags she keeps folded under the bed, the thin wooden crate she uses as a makeshift shelf. He clears his throat and asks the price. The seller laughs good-naturedly. "This one's the most expensive piece I've got. Buying it as a dowry for your bride?" Quang doesn't answer. He just looks at the wardrobe once more, nods firmly, and reaches for his wallet. The seller's eyebrows shoot up. "Brother, you're not even going to bargain properly." But Quang has already paid. Because this isn't just furniture to him. This is dignity, warmth, a future he wants Linda to have. Even if she still doesn't dare dream that far. He helps the seller load the wardrobe onto the motorbike. It's bulky and awkward, ropes digging into both men's palms. But Quang lifts and ties and adjusts everything alone, ignoring the sweat soaking the back of his shirt. The seller whistles and claps him on the shoulder. "Hard-working man like you. Your sweetheart must be very lucky." Quang just murmurs, "I hope so," then starts the engine. Light rain begins to fall almost instantly, tapping against the polished wardrobe like tiny drum beats. Quang slows down, navigating the slippery mountain road with extra care. Raindrops bead on the wood. Mud splashes onto his shoes. And still, he smiles, because the entire way up, he imagines only one thing: Linda opening the door. Her expression when she sees it. Her stunned silence melting into that soft, shy smile he has grown to treasure. The path steepens. The bike trembles under the weight. But Quang keeps going, jaw tight, shoulders straining. Happiness isn't easy to carry, but today, he doesn't mind the weight at all. Near the foot of Linda's stilt house, 2 hired drivers join him. Together, they hoist the wardrobe onto their shoulders. Sweat drips down their temples. Their steps wobble over wet stones. "Damn heavy," one of them groans. Quang laughs breathlessly. "We're almost there. Just hold on." Every step feels like a vow sealed in silence. a promise carried on aching arms. Up the wooden stairs the men climb, boards creaking under the load. They inch sideways, then forward, then sideways again, until the wardrobe finally reaches the doorway of Linda's home. Inside, Linda is still in the kitchen, completely unaware. Quang wipes his forehead with the back of his hand. His heart is beating too fast. The driver nudges him with an elbow and grins. "Delivered straight to the beauty, boss." But Quang barely hears him. His eyes are fixed on the doorway where Linda's soft footsteps echo. And then she appears. The door swings open. Linda freezes. Her mouth falls slightly open, eyes widening with disbelief at the enormous wardrobe now standing in the middle of her small living space. "Oh my God," she whispers. "Quang, what did you buy?" He steps forward, still catching his breath, still damp from the rain. "I couldn't stand seeing your clothes stuffed inside plastic bags anymore." The drivers place the wardrobe down carefully and leave with friendly waves, but Quang stays where he is, watching Linda's stunned expression. He kneels beside the wardrobe, wipes away traces of mud, dusts off the corners, then pulls both doors wide open. "Big enough," he says softly, "for everything I've bought you so far." Linda's cheeks flush instantly. Her hands tremble as she touches the smooth door. The wood gleams under the late afternoon light, casting warm golden tones across her face. "It must have cost so much," she murmurs. I don't dare accept this." Quang closes the distance between them. His voice is gentle, low, steady. "I just want you to never feel cold or lacking again." For a moment, Linda doesn't speak. Her lashes flutter. Her eyes turn glassy. Because no one has ever cared for her like this. Not with loud declarations, not with fancy gestures, but with simple, unwavering love shown through effort and sacrifice. Outside, the sun dips lower, slipping through the wooden slats of the stilt house. Its rays catch the edges of the wardrobe and reflect a soft amber glow onto Linda's tearful face. She touches a folded dress Quang bought her last month, then a scarf, then a light jacket. With slow, reverent movements, she begins to hang them one by one inside the wardrobe. Every garment she hangs feels like a note in a quiet love song. From the porch, Quang leans on a pillar, watching her through the half-open door. He doesn't call her name. He doesn't interrupt. He just observes with a soft smile, listening to the faint creak of hangers and the gentle rustle of clothes. "Tomorrow," he murmurs to himself, "I'll buy curtains. It's too cold at night." Linda turns sharply, catching his words. A tear escapes despite her attempt to hide it. "Thank you," she says quietly, "for everything. Truly." Quang simply nods. The mountain breeze drifts through the house, carrying the scent of fresh wood, newly steamed cassava from the kitchen, and something else. The scent of a home finally warming. The scent of love built not from promises, but from actions. And in this once cold stilt house, there is now a glow so soft and steady it fills every corner. The glow of a man who loves with his whole heart, even when he doesn't know how to say it aloud. Night descends over the mountains like a soft blanket, cooling the rooftops and quieting the village little by little. The stilt house stands still beneath the sky, its windows glowing faintly with the golden hue of an oil lamp. Inside, the new wardrobe is no longer just a piece of furniture. It seems to radiate warmth across the room, filling up corners that once felt empty and forgotten. Linda is still arranging her clothes. Slow, gentle, deliberate movements. Each garment she picks up carries a memory. The shirt Quang bought her because this color suits you. The scarf she hesitated to accept because it felt too nice. The dress she folded carefully for so long but never had a place to hang. Now, everything has a home. Behind her, Quang sits at the low wooden table, boiling water for tea. The soft hiss of the pot fills the room, while he tries to keep himself from staring at her too much. But it's impossible. Every time he glances up, he sees her small figure standing beside the wardrobe, the lamplight outlining her like a painting. Delicate, warm, and heartbreakingly real. Trying to distract himself, he pours 2 cups of tea, but his hands keep pausing, trembling ever so slightly. Linda turns around at that moment. "Quang, why did you go to such trouble for me?" He freezes with the teapot midair. She steps closer, voice quiet, but filled with something heavier than curiosity. Fear, gratitude, confusion, all tangled together. This wardrobe, it must have cost so much, and you carried it up here in the rain. I don't understand. Why? Quang sets the pot down gently. His eyes lower, his breath slow. He has never been good with words, but Linda deserves honesty. Real, full honesty. "You've lived too long with too little," he says softly. "You deserve a place where your things can rest properly. You deserve warmth, comfort." Linda's throat tightens. Her gaze drops to her hands, fingers twisting nervously. "But you've already given me so much. I don't know how I can ever repay you." Quang's lips curve into the faintest, most tender smile. "Linda, I'm not doing any of this so you can repay me." But she shakes her head, overwhelmed. She isn't used to receiving kindness without conditions. Her whole life has been survival, working, enduring, hiding pain behind a small smile. Someone loving her so gently feels almost unbelievable. Quang takes a breath and makes a decision. He walks back to the wardrobe, opens the door, and reaches for the small velvet box tucked deep inside the lower shelf, hidden since morning. His heart lurches in his chest. He had planned to wait, maybe a week, maybe a month. But watching her eyes light up earlier, watching her take in the wardrobe as though touching happiness for the first time, something shifted in him. She deserves clarity, a future, a name beside his, and he's ready to give her all of that. "Linda," he calls softly, "come here." She steps toward him slowly, her brows knitting together. "What is it?" Quang swallows, feeling the weight of every unsaid word pressing against his chest. "Close your eyes." "What? Why?" "Just trust me." His voice is so gentle she can't refuse. With a hesitant breath, she closes her eyes. The lamplight warms her cheeks, casting soft shadows along her lashes. She looks fragile, like one gust of wind could shatter her. Quang takes out the ring box. His hands shake. This man who lifted an entire wardrobe with his bare arms now trembles over something so small it fits in his palm. He kneels. The floorboard creaks beneath his weight. "Open your eyes," he whispers. When she does, her breath catches. Quang is kneeling on one knee, holding a small silver ring, looking up at her the way a man looks at the only person he's ever truly chosen. Linda stumbles backward a step, hands flying to her mouth. Quang, what are you doing? His voice is quiet, steady, but filled with emotion. Linda, I don't know how to say beautiful words. I'm not a rich man, and I can't give you the world. But I can promise you something else. He takes a deep breath. I promise I will use the rest of my life to protect you, warm you, and make you feel safe. I want to build a real home with you, one where you never have to fear storms or loneliness again. Linda's eyes well instantly. Tears spill silently, but she doesn't notice. Quang continues, voice trembling now. I bought this wardrobe because I want it to be the first thing of our life together. A beginning, not a gift. He lifts the ring slightly. Linda, will you marry me? The room goes silent. Even the wind outside seems to stop. Linda tries to speak, but only a broken sob escapes. She drops to her knees in front of him, her tears falling onto his hands as she clutches them tightly. Quang, I'm crying because I don't know how to accept love like this, she whispers. No one has ever cared for me this deeply, not like you do. He brushes her cheek with his thumb. So, is that a yes? She laughs through her tears, a trembling, beautiful, fragile sound. Yes, I'll marry you. Quang lets out a breath he didn't know he was holding. With careful hands, he slips the ring onto her finger. The silver glints softly under the lamplight, small but meaningful, exactly like their love. Linda stares at the ring, her hand covering her mouth again. It's beautiful. When she leans forward, she wraps her arms around him, burying her face into his shoulder. Quang folds his arms around her instantly, pulling her close, resting his chin lightly on her hair as though she belongs there, because she does. But Linda suddenly pulls back slightly, wiping her tears. She whispers, "Wait here." Before he can ask why, she stands and rushes to the corner of the room. She opens an old wooden box, her only keepsake. Inside is a small, faded bracelet made of red thread. She brings it back to him. This is the only thing I have from my mother, she says quietly. I've kept it my whole life, and now I want you to have it. Quang's eyes widen. Linda, no, this is precious. You should keep it. But she shakes her head firmly for the first time tonight. You gave me a ring for our future, she says. Let this bracelet be my promise to you. She ties the fragile red thread around his wrist. Quang lifts his hand, staring at the bracelet as though it were solid gold. Outside, the bamboo rustles again. Wind sweeps through the house, carrying a soft, earthy smell. The room seems brighter now, full of something warm and wordless. Quang cups Linda's cheeks gently. From today on, we face everything together. Linda nods, her forehead touching his. Together, she murmurs. The wardrobe stands full behind them. The ring shines faintly on her finger, and the red thread glows against his wrist. Inside this once cold, stilt house, love settles into every corner. Quiet, steady, and unshakable.